It was just after midnight when a sharp knock echoed through the quiet house. My wife jolted awake, fear flickering in her eyes. My children stirred in their beds, whispering in confusion. I stood frozen, staring at the door. Outside, dark silhouettes in police uniforms waited. Their voices were harsh, impatient, almost threatening, but something about them felt wrong. They shouted that they were here on behalf of the Homeowners Association. They said I had broken the rules, violated property lines, and ignored their warnings. They weren't just here to issue a fine or file a complaint. They said they were here to arrest me. My wife gripped my arm, her hands trembling. My children's eyes widened with terror. I looked at the door, then at my family, and I knew this was no ordinary visit. This wasn't the first time the HOA had tried to intimidate me. For months they had been circling my property like vultures, demanding bribes, inventing violations that didn't exist. They had turned neighbors against neighbors, spreading fear across the community. When I refused to bow to their demands, they marked me as a problem. And now, with fake officers at my door, they had escalated their campaign of intimidation. But they had no idea who they were dealing with. I wasn't just a homeowner. I wasn't just another victim of their corruption. I was the chief of police. And their game was about to end. My wife whispered urgently, "Who's at the door this late?" They look like police. My children clung to her, whispering, "Daddy, what's happening? Why are the police here?" I steadied my voice and said, "They're not real police. Stay inside. No matter what happens, do not open this door." The banging grew louder. One of the fake officers barked, "Open up. You're under arrest by order of the HOA board. Step outside immediately." Their tone was commanding, but it lacked the precision and calm authority I had drilled into my officers for years. I had seen real lawmen stand at doors, deliver warrants, and handle tense situations. These men outside were nothing like them. My wife asked, terrified, "Should we call the police?" I shook my head. "No," I said, my voice low. "Let's see how far they'll go." I wanted to see them expose themselves fully. I opened the door slowly. 4 men stood there in ill-fitting uniforms, their badges reflecting the porch light. But something about those badges was off, cheap fake. Their holsters were too loose, their posture sloppy. They were enforcers, not trained officers. "You've violated property codes," one shouted. "Illegal extension on your backyard. You're coming with us." I folded my arms. "And where's your badge number, officer? Where's your warrant signed by a judge?" Silence. They glanced at each other nervously. One snapped back, "Don't play smart. HOA has full authority." I stepped forward, my voice colder now. "Authority? Or greed?" One leaned closer, his voice dropping to a threatening whisper. "Look, cooperate, or your family will suffer. HOA doesn't forget. Pay your dues, hand over the property, and we'll let you go." Behind me, I could feel the fear radiating from my wife and children. My blood boiled. For months, I had endured their intimidation. But now, standing in my doorway, threatening my family, they had crossed a line. They didn't notice the subtle movement of my thumb as I pressed a hidden button on my phone. Within seconds, an encrypted signal went out. My officers were on their way. I straightened my back and said calmly, "If you're real police, you won't mind waiting while I call your station to verify." "No calls," one of them shouted, panic creeping into his tone. "Step outside now." A black car rolled up behind them. Out stepped the HOA leader, a man in a sharp suit with a smug smile that screamed arrogance. He adjusted his tie and sneered at me. "Mr. Homeowner, still stubborn, aren't you? This could have been simple. Sell us your land, walk away rich. But you chose war. Tonight you lose." I met his stare and replied, "You call this war? No, this is justice." In the distance, faint sirens wailed. The fake officers shifted nervously, glancing back at their boss. "Those sound real," one whispered. The leader snapped, "Hold your ground. He's bluffing." I reached into my jacket, pulled out a gleaming badge, and held it high. "Bluffing? Then look closely. I am chief of police, and you're all under arrest." Shock washed over their faces. My wife gasped softly, relief breaking through her fear. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, murmuring in disbelief. The fake officers froze, their courage evaporating. The leader snarled, "Take him down. Now." They lunged, but before they could reach me, flashing red and blue lights flooded the street. Real police cruisers screeched to a halt. Doors flew open. Officers in proper uniforms stormed out, weapons drawn, voices booming with authority. "Drop your weapons. Hands where we can see them." The fake officer stumbled back, hands shaking. One tried to run but was tackled to the ground. Another dropped to his knees, begging. The HOA leader thrashed as handcuffs clicked around his wrists. "You think this ends here?" he screamed. "The HOA is bigger than you." I stepped closer, my voice steady and cold. "Maybe. But tonight you lost." Neighbors poured into the street, whispering, pointing, watching as the so-called enforcers were dragged away. The illusion of power the HOA had built collapsed in an instant. By dawn, the sirens were gone. The street was quiet again. My family sat with me on the porch, exhausted but safe. My wife whispered, "It's finally over." I wrapped my arm around her shoulders. "No," I said softly. "It's just beginning. But justice is alive." Neighbors approached one by one, some in tears, some trembling, thanking me. "You saved us all," one said. "We were too scared to speak." I looked at them and replied, "Justice only works when we stand together. Silence is what made them powerful. Never forget that." The HOA Mafia had thrived on intimidation, on silence, on the fear of good people. But in the end, corruption always falls. Their fake authority, their threats, their greed, none of it could withstand the light of truth. No matter how powerful the Mafia, no matter how convincing the lies, justice always wins. And that night, in the eyes of my family, my neighbors, and my city, justice had won.